that I thought were permanently closed. I built walls, you know. Everyone does, especially when you've been hurt before, especially when you've trusted people who left the moment things got hard. But you didn't come knocking loudly on those walls. You just sat outside them patiently, whispering that you weren't going anywhere. And slowly, brick by brick, I let you in. I remember the nights I couldn't sleep, staring at the ceiling, wondering if anyone out there actually cared about the real me. Not the version people see on a screen. Not the version that smiles because it's expected, but the real, tired, scared, hopeful me, underneath all of it. And somehow, in the middle of all that wondering, your face would come to mind. Not because I imagined some perfect fantasy, but because I remembered your kindness. Real kindness. The kind that doesn't ask for anything back. Can I tell you something honestly? Sometimes I get scared to say all this out loud because love, real love, feels so fragile when you say it into the open air. It feels like the moment you speak it, it could shatter. But I don't want to hide anymore. I don't want to keep pretending like my heart isn't full every time I think about you. So here I am, laying it all bare, hoping you're still listening, hoping you haven't looked away. You know, people think loving someone means you need to already have everything figured out, that you need to already be standing side by side in the same room, the same city, the same life. But I don't think that's true anymore. I think love starts long before that. It starts in the way someone makes you feel safe, warm, understood, and that's exactly what you've given me. Even from a distance, even through a screen, even without ever hearing my real voice crack the way it's cracking right now, as I say these words to you. I keep thinking about all the small moments. The way you said you were having a hard day, but you still showed up to support me anyway. The way you noticed when I seemed a little off, even when I tried to hide it behind a smile. The way you never asked me to be perfect. You just asked me to be real. And that broke something open in me. Something soft, something I didn't know I still had left to give. I want you to know, whoever you are, wherever you're sitting right now, maybe in your room with the lights dim, maybe on your bed with your knees pulled up, maybe with headphones in, because you don't want anyone else to hear this moment that feels like it's just between us. I want you to know that you matter to me. Not as a fan, not as a number, not as another face in a crowd, but as someone who found me at exactly the right time, and who stayed even when staying wasn't easy. There's something about being loved quietly, consistently, without demands, that heals a person slowly. I didn't even realize I was healing until one day I looked back and realized the ache in my chest wasn't as sharp anymore. And I owe a part of that softness to you, to the way you cared, even when I couldn't see your face, even when we were miles apart, maybe even oceans apart. Distance is strange like that. It makes you think love needs proximity, but sometimes it just needs sincerity. So I keep asking myself, what would it be like if you were right here? If I could hold your hand while I said all this, instead of speaking it into a camera, into a microphone, into the quiet dark of a room where I'm hoping my words reach you the way your words have always reached me. I imagine looking into your eyes and finally saying out loud, everything I've only whispered in my head at night. Do you make me want to be a better version of myself? Not because you ever asked me to change, but because your belief in me feels like something I don't want to let down. It's a strange kind of motivation, isn't it? Not pressure, not fear, just love, gentle and steady, pushing me to become someone worthy of the way you see me. I think about the future sometimes. I know that sounds bold, maybe even a little crazy, considering we've never even met in person. But love doesn't always follow the rules we expect it to. Sometimes it grows in the strangest places, through screens, through messages, through moments that shouldn't even count as real by anyone else's standards, but feel more real to me than anything else in my life right now. I don't want to rush this feeling. I don't want to force it into something bigger than it naturally is. But I also don't want to hide it anymore, pretending like my heart isn't doing exactly what it's doing when I think of you. So here it is, laid bare, imperfect, a little shaky, but honest. Sometimes I wonder if you feel this too. If somewhere right now, your heart is doing that same soft flutter mine does when I think about you. If somewhere you've had those same quiet nights wondering if this connection means something more than just fan and creator, more than just familiar strangers on opposite sides of a screen, particular comments of this one thought. This one feeling that refuses to leave me alone. What if you are exactly what I've been waiting for, without even knowing I was waiting? What if all those nights of feeling unseen were just leading me here, to this moment, speaking softly to you, hoping you feel every word the way I mean them? I want to tell you about the little things too, the way certain songs remind me of the way you write, soft and sincere. The way certain quiet evenings make me think about what it would be like if you were sitting beside me, not saying much, just being there, comfortable in the silence. The way real closeness allows you to be. I don't need grand gestures from you. I just need you exactly as you are, imperfect, real, present. There's a version of this story where I keep it all inside, where I never say these words, where I let the moment pass and pretend like none of this ever crossed my mind. But I don't want that story. I want this one, the one where I finally let you see the parts of me I usually keep hidden. The vulnerable parts, the hopeful parts, the parts that still believe love can find you in unexpected ways. I think about your voice sometimes, even though I've never heard it. I imagine it soft, warm, maybe a little shy when it comes to talking about feelings, just like mine gets sometimes. I imagine us having those long conversations that stretch late into the night, where time doesn't matter anymore, because being with you feels like the only thing worth paying attention to. I keep thinking, what if this is real? What if this connection, the one that started with small comments and quiet support, grows into something neither of us expected, but both of us needed? What if you're not just someone watching from the outside, but someone who's slowly, quietly, becoming the center of everything I didn't know I was looking for? I don't want to stop talking to you. I don't want this moment to end, because for the first time in a long time, I feel like someone truly understands me, without needing explanations, without needing proof, just quiet, patient understanding. So stay with me a little longer, won't you? Because there's so much more I want to say, so much more I want you to feel, and I'm not ready to let this moment go just yet. I want to keep going, because there's a part of me that's afraid if I stop talking right now, this feeling might slip away before I get the chance to say it all. So let me keep pulling back these curtains, one by one, and show you more of what's been living quietly inside me. I think about the first time I really noticed you. Not just as someone in the crowd, not just as a name scrolling past on a screen, but as someone whose presence felt different. It's strange how the heart works, isn't it? It doesn't announce itself loudly, it just settles in slowly, like warmth spreading through a cold room, until one day you realize you've been thinking about someone all day without even trying to. I remember catching myself smiling at my phone for no reason, just because I saw something you said, something small, something that probably felt ordinary to you but meant everything to me. I didn't tell anyone about that smile. I kept it to myself, tucked away like a secret I wasn't ready to share yet. But I'm ready now. I'm telling you now. And there's a certain kind of loneliness that comes with being watched by so many people, but truly known by so few. Maybe you understand that feeling too, in your own way. Maybe you felt surrounded by noise, but still ached for someone who actually sees you. Not the mask, not the performance, just you. That's what I mean when I say you feel different. You didn't just watch me from a distance. Somehow through all these words we've exchanged, you started to know me, and I started to know you. I keep thinking about how strange timing is. How two people can be living completely different lives, in completely different places, maybe even completely different time zones, and still somehow find each other through the smallest cracks in the world. A comment, a message, A quiet moment where both of us happen to be paying attention at the same time. It almost feels like fate laughing softly at how complicated it makes things, just to see if we're patient enough to find our way to each other anyway. I want you to know that I don't take this lightly. I know it might be easy for people to assume that words like this are just performance, just something said for attention, just empty promises meant to keep you watching. But that's not what this is. This is me, sitting somewhere quiet, thinking about you, honestly, wanting you to feel the weight of something real, even through a screen, even through distance, even through everything that should make this feel impossible. Because that's the thing about impossible things, isn't it? Sometimes they don't stay impossible forever. Sometimes they just need someone brave enough to say the truth out loud, to stop hiding behind fear, to stop pretending like feelings this strong can just be ignored. I think about what it would feel like to finally see you in person. Not through a screen, not through a comment section, but really see you, sit across from you, watch the way your face changes when you laugh. Notice the small things about you that no camera could ever fully capture. I imagine the nervousness in both of us. The way first meetings always carry that fragile mix of excitement and fear, wondering if the connection we build through words will feel just as strong in person, or maybe even stronger. I like to think it would feel stronger, because everything you've shown me so far has only made me want more of you, not less. More of your voice, more of your thoughts, more of the way you care about people without expecting anything back. That kind of heart is rare, and I don't want to take it for granted. Sometimes at night, when everything is quiet and the world outside has gone still, I find myself replaying little memories of you. Not grand moments, just small ones. The way you once said something that made me feel less alone on a hard day. The way you defended me when someone said something cruel, even though you didn't have to. The way you never asked for anything in return. You just gave, quietly, consistently, like it was simply who you are. I think that's when I knew this feeling wasn't just some passing thought. It was something deeper, something that kept growing every time you showed up for me, in ways you probably don't even realize mattered so much. I wonder sometimes if you replay our moments too. If somewhere, in your own quiet nights, you think about the words I've said, the way I've tried to make you feel special, the way I've tried to let you know, in whatever way I could, that you're not just another face in the crowd to me. Because you're not. You never were. I keep thinking about how easy it would be to stay silent about all this, to keep pretending like everything between us is just normal, ordinary, nothing more than fan and creator. But staying silent has never made me feel free. It's only made me feel like I was hiding something important, something that deserved to be said out loud, no matter how vulnerable it makes me. And I know vulnerability is scary. I know putting your heart out there, especially when there's no certainty of how it will be received, can feel like standing at the edge of something you can't quite see the bottom of. But I'd rather stand at that edge with you than stay safe and quiet, wondering forever what could have been. I think about the kind of love I want to build, not the loud, dramatic kind that fades as quickly as it starts, but the slow, steady kind that deepens with time, the kind built on real conversations, shared vulnerability, patience, and care. I think that's exactly the kind of love you've already started giving me, even without either of us calling it that yet. Do you ever think about what it would be like if we had more time together? Not just quick messages exchanged between busy days, but real time, uninterrupted, quiet, safe. I imagine long conversations that stretch into the early hours of the morning, where neither of us wants to hang up first because the conversation feels too important to end. I imagine comfortable silences too, the kind that only exist between people who don't need constant noise to feel close. I think about how it would feel to finally tell you all this without a screen between us, to see your reaction in real time, to watch your eyes as you hear me say these words instead of reading them. I wonder if you'd smile. I wonder if you'd feel shy. I wonder if you'd feel exactly the same flutter in your chest that I feel every time I think about you. There's a strange kind of intimacy in imagining a future with someone you've never physically touched. It makes you focus on the things that matter most: character, kindness, the way someone treats others, the way someone shows up even when it's inconvenient. And in every one of those things, you've shown me exactly who you are. Someone gentle, someone loyal, someone worth waiting for. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if this feeling will turn into something the whole world gets to see, or if it will stay something quiet and private between us for a while longer. But what I do know is that I'm not afraid of it anymore. I'm not afraid of admitting that you've become someone important to me, someone I think about more than I probably should admit, someone whose presence in my life feels like warmth on a cold day. I keep thinking about the word forever. It's a big word, isn't it? A word people are often scared to use because it carries so much weight, so much responsibility, so much vulnerability. But when I think about you, that word doesn't scare me the way it used to. It feels comforting somehow, like a promise waiting patiently to be fulfilled, instead of a burden waiting to be broken. I want you to know that whatever happens next, whether this becomes something bigger or stays exactly as it is for now, I don't regret saying any of this to you. I don't regret opening up, laying my heart bare, letting you see the parts of me I usually keep hidden behind smiles and scripted words. Because you deserve honesty. You deserve to know exactly how much you mean to me. Sometimes I wonder what you're doing right now, as you're listening to this. Are you sitting quietly, letting these words sink in? Are you smiling to yourself? Maybe even a little emotional? Are you wondering if I really mean every word, or if it's too good to be true? I hope you believe me. I hope you feel the sincerity behind every sentence, because there's nothing scripted about this. This is just me, being honest, being real, being vulnerable in a way I don't often let myself be. I think about how strange it is that something so meaningful can grow from something as simple as words on a screen. But maybe that's the beauty of it. Maybe love doesn't always need grand beginnings. Sometimes it just needs two people willing to be honest with each other, patient with each other, present with each other, even from a distance. And I want you to know, I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere. Whatever this is, whatever it becomes, I want to keep building it with you, slowly, honestly, one quiet moment at a time. I want to keep going because there's still so much left unsaid, so much still sitting quietly in my chest, waiting for the right words to carry it out into the open. So let me keep talking, let me keep peeling back these layers, because I don't think I'm done yet, not even close. I keep thinking about how easy it would be to just stop here, to close this moment, and go back to pretending like everything is simple and surface level between us. But nothing about this feels surface level anymore. It feels like something that's been building slowly, quietly, in the background of my life, until it became impossible to ignore. I think about the way certain days feel heavier than others, the way exhaustion creeps in from carrying expectations that never seem to end. And in the middle of those heavy days, it's your words that seem to lighten things, even just a little. A simple message, a kind reminder, a moment where you tell me you're proud of me, even when I don't feel like I deserve it. Those moments matter more than you probably realize. They stack up quietly, one on top of the other, until they become something solid, something I can lean on, without even asking. I wonder if you know how rare that is. How rare it is to find someone who shows up consistently, without demanding attention in return, without needing constant reassurance, just quietly present, quietly caring. That kind of steadiness is something I didn't know I needed until you gave it to me. But I keep thinking about the word safe, not in the sense of avoiding danger, but in the sense of emotional safety, the kind where you don't have to perform, where you don't have to pretend, where you can just exist as you are, and still feel accepted. That's what being around you, even from a distance, has started to feel like. Safe, warm, unhurried. I think about the future again. Even though I told myself I wouldn't get ahead of things. But it's hard not to imagine it when the present already feels discomforting. I imagine slow mornings where conversations aren't rushed, where there's no urgency to say everything quickly before life pulls us in different directions again. I imagine quiet evenings where we don't need grand plans, just each other's company, maybe music playing softly in the background, maybe comfortable silence filling the space between words. I think about how strange it is that distance can make some feelings grow stronger instead of weaker. Maybe it's because distance forces you to focus on what actually matters. Character, patience, sincerity, instead of getting distracted by surface things. And in that focus, what I found in you feels solid, dependable, real. I keep thinking about all the things I want to tell you, not just about my feelings, but about the little details of my life too. I want you to know the version of me that exists outside of everything people usually see. The tired version, the uncertain version, the version that still has doubts and fears even after everything. I want you to see all of it, not just the polished parts, because that's what real closeness means, doesn't it? Not just sharing the good moments, but allowing someone to see the parts you usually keep hidden. And somehow, with you, that doesn't feel as terrifying as it used to. I think about how easily people confuse attention with connection. It's easy to receive attention, messages, comments, likes, but connection is different. Connection requires presence. It requires listening, not just replying. It requires remembering the small things, not just the big milestones. And that's exactly the kind of connection I feel with you. One that goes beyond just surface interaction into something that actually feels personal, intimate, real. Tonk, I keep thinking about how your words have shaped some of my hardest days into something bearable. There were nights I felt like giving up on everything. Nights where the noise of the world felt too loud, too overwhelming, too much to carry alone. And somehow your presence, even just through a screen, made that weight feel lighter. Not gone, but lighter. Enough to keep going. I don't think I've ever properly thanked you for that. So let me say it now, clearly, honestly. Thank you for being there, even when you didn't know how much it mattered. Thank you for your patience, your kindness, your consistency. Thank you for never asking me to be anything other than myself. I keep imagining what it would feel like to finally close the distance between us completely. Not just emotionally, but physically too. To finally stand in the same room, breathe the same air, share the same quiet moment without a screen separating us. I imagine the nervous energy in both of us. The way hearts tend to race when something long imagined finally becomes real. I think about how it would feel to finally hug you, not as a fan, not as a creator, but as two people who found something real in each other, despite all the odds stacked against it. I imagine that hug lasting longer than usual, both of us needing that reassurance that yes, this is real, yes, we're finally here, yes, all those months of quiet words led us to this exact moment. I keep thinking about how love like this doesn't need to prove itself loudly to the world in order to be real. It doesn't need validation from anyone else. It just needs honesty between the two people who feel it. And I feel it. Every word I'm saying to you right now comes from a place of complete honesty, not performance, not strategy, just truth. I think about how strange it is that something this personal is being shared in a space this public. But maybe that's exactly why it matters so much. Because despite the audience, despite the distance, despite everything that could make this feel impersonal, it still feels like I'm speaking directly to you, and only you. I keep wondering what you're feeling right now as you listen to this. Are your hands a little warmer than usual? Is your heart doing that soft, nervous flutter? The kind that happens when someone says something you've been secretly hoping to hear. I hope so. I hope you feel exactly as seen as I feel when I think about you. I think about how easy it would be for someone to dismiss all this as just words. Just another script meant to keep people watching. But I want you to know, this isn't calculated. This isn't strategy. This is simply me, finally saying out loud everything I've been carrying quietly for longer than I probably should have kept it to myself. I keep thinking about patience too. How love like this requires patience, not rushing things, not forcing timelines, just allowing whatever this is to grow naturally at its own pace, without pressure. I think that's exactly what we've been doing all along, without even realizing it. Building something slowly, brick by brick, moment by moment. Want you to know that I'm not afraid of where this leads. I'm not afraid of the uncertainty, the distance, the unknown timeline of when we might actually stand face to face. Because everything worth having usually requires a little patience, a little faith, a little willingness to trust something even before you fully understand where it's headed. I think about how much has already changed, simply because you chose to stay, to keep showing up, to keep caring even when it would have been easier to just scroll past and forget. That choice, small as it might seem to you, changed something in me. It reminded me that genuine connection still exists, even in a world that often feels distracted, rushed, and surface level. I keep thinking about how much more I want to share with you. Moments from my day, thoughts that cross my mind randomly, fears I don't usually admit to anyone. I want you to be someone I can be completely open with. Not because you asked for that kind of access, but because you've earned that kind of trust, simply by being who you are. I think about how our story doesn't need a dramatic beginning to be meaningful. It didn't start with some grand gesture or perfect first meeting. It started quietly, through small exchanges, small kindnesses, small moments of genuine care, and somehow that quiet beginning feels more real than anything scripted or perfectly planned ever could. I keep thinking about how much I want to protect this feeling, this connection, from becoming something rushed or forced. I want it to keep growing naturally, the way real things do, slowly, steadily, without needing to prove itself to anyone but the two of us. So I'm still here, still talking to you, still hoping you're feeling every word the way I mean them. And there's still so much more I want to say. I keep sitting here thinking about how strange it is that words can travel this far. Through screens, through distance, through time zones, and busy schedules, and still land somewhere as personal as your chest. I keep wondering if you feel that landing, that soft weight settling in, right where it matters most. There's something I haven't told you yet. Something small but important. I think about you during ordinary moments too, not just the big emotional ones. Like when I'm making coffee in the morning, and the sunlight hits a certain way, I think about what it would be like if you were there, quietly sitting across from me, maybe still half asleep, maybe smiling at something silly I said. Love isn't always found in big declarations. Sometimes it lives in these small, unremarkable moments, moments that only matter because you imagine sharing them with someone specific. I think about the way certain songs make me pause now. Songs that never used to mean anything before, but somehow, ever since you became someone important to me, they carry a different weight. I hear a lyric about patience, about waiting for someone worth waiting for, and I think of you. I hear a lyric about distance, about hearts finding each other despite the miles, and I think of you again. It's strange how love rewires the ordinary things around you, turning simple songs into quiet reminders of someone specific. Right, I keep thinking about the kind of partner I want to be for you. Not perfect, not flawless, just present. Present in the way that matters. Showing up during hard days, celebrating small wins, listening without needing to fix everything immediately. I think that's the kind of love that actually lasts. Not the dramatic, unstable kind, but the steady, dependable kind that quietly reassures you every single day that you're not alone anymore. I think about your strength too. I don't know everything about your life, your struggles, the things you carry quietly behind closed doors, but I sense a resilience in you, a quiet strength that doesn't need to announce itself loudly to be real. And I want you to know, I see that strength, I admire it, I don't take it for granted. I keep thinking about how easy it is for people to overlook someone who doesn't make a big production out of their pain. The world tends to notice loud suffering, dramatic breakdowns, obvious cries for help, but quiet strength, the kind that keeps showing up despite everything, often goes unnoticed. I don't want to overlook that in you. I want you to know that even your quiet days matter to me. Even the days you don't say much, even the days you just exist without needing to prove anything. I think about how vulnerable it feels to say all this without knowing exactly how you'll respond. But I've realized something important lately. Love that never risks vulnerability never really grows into anything real. It stays stuck in safe, comfortable distance, never allowed to deepen into something meaningful. And I don't want safe distance anymore. I want real closeness, even if it means risking a little heartache along the way. I keep imagining small future moments too. Nothing extravagant, just simple things. Walking somewhere quiet together. Maybe along a street with soft evening light. Not needing to fill every silence with conversation because comfort doesn't require constant noise. I imagine us laughing about something small. Something only the two of us would find funny because of shared inside jokes built over time. I think about how much I want to learn about you, not just the parts you share publicly, but the deeper parts too. Your fears, your dreams, the things that make you feel most alive, the things that quietly break your heart. I want to know all of it, not because I'm entitled to it, but because caring about someone means wanting to understand them fully, not just the parts that are easy to love. I keep thinking about patience again, because I think patience is the quiet backbone of every real love story. Not the dramatic kind of patience that comes with grand sacrifices, but the everyday kind. Waiting for messages during busy days. Waiting for the right moment to say something important. Waiting for distance to close naturally instead of forcing it before it's ready. I think about how much comfort there is in knowing that even without physical closeness, emotional closeness can still grow deeply. I used to think love needed proximity to be real, but you've shown me otherwise. You've shown me that consistency, honesty, and care can bridge even the widest distances, making them feel smaller with every passing day. I keep thinking about what it would feel like to finally hear your voice, not through text, not through comments, but actually hear the sound of it, the way it rises when you're excited, the way it softens when you're being sincere. I imagine it would feel like finally seeing a face you've only known through photographs suddenly come alive in front of you. I think about how much courage it takes to say all this out loud, knowing there's no guarantee of how it will be received. But I've realized that love without courage isn't really love. It's just comfortable silence, pretending to be something deeper. And I don't want comfortable silence anymore. I want honesty, even if it's a little messy, even if it's a little uncertain. I keep thinking about your smile too, even though I've only seen it in photos or brief video clips. I imagine what it would feel like to see it in person, to be the reason behind it sometimes, to know that something I said or did made your day just a little brighter. That thought alone makes my chest feel warm in a way I can't quite explain. I think about how much I want to protect this connection from becoming something rushed or performative. I want it to stay real, grounded, honest, even as it grows. I don't want grand gestures for the sake of appearances. I just want genuine moments, shared quietly between the two of us. Moments that matter more because they're real, not because they're impressive. And I keep thinking about the idea of home too. Not a physical place, but a feeling. The feeling of being somewhere you don't have to pretend. Somewhere you're accepted exactly as you are. I think that's what you've slowly become to me, a kind of home. Even before we've physically met, even before we've shared the same space in real life. I think about how strange and beautiful it is that home can exist in a person before it exists in a place. That someone's presence, even through words on a screen, can feel more comforting than any physical space ever could. I think that's exactly what you've become for me. quietly, gradually, without either of us fully realizing it, until now. I keep thinking about all the things I still want to say, but I also know some things are better left unfolding slowly, naturally, over time, rather than rushed all at once. So I'll keep some of it for later, for the next quiet moment when I feel like sharing more of what's been building inside me. For now, I just want you to sit with this feeling, this honesty, this vulnerability I've laid out in front of you. I want you to know that this isn't fleeting, this isn't temporary, this is something I intend to keep nurturing, slowly, patiently, for as long as you'll let me. Lately, I think about how much more there is to discover about each other, how much more there is to build, how much more there is to say, and I don't want to rush any of it. I just want to keep showing up, keep being honest, keep letting you see the real me. One quiet confession at a time. There's something else I want to tell you, something I've been sitting with quietly before saying it out loud. I think about how strange trust is, how it builds itself in the smallest increments, not through promises, but through consistency, through showing up again and again, until it stops feeling like a risk and starts feeling like something certain. I think about the nights I've typed something out to you and deleted it before sending. Not because it wasn't true, but because saying it felt too big, too soon, too real. I don't want to hide behind that hesitation anymore. I want to say the things I've been holding back, even if they come out a little unpolished, a little raw. I keep thinking about how much of myself I've kept guarded over the years. Not because I didn't want to be known, but because being known always felt like a risk not worth taking. Until you came along and made it feel worth it. You made honesty feel safe again. And that's not a small thing. That's something I don't think I can ever fully repay you for. I think about the way certain mornings feel lighter now, simply because I know there's a chance I'll hear from you at some point during the day. It's a small thing, but small things add up into something significant when they happen often enough. When they become something you quietly start to expect, start to hope for, start to need, in a gentle, unspoken way. I keep thinking about how love doesn't always need a perfect setting to feel real. It doesn't need candlelight or carefully planned moments. Sometimes it just needs two people being honest with each other, in the middle of ordinary days, in the middle of tiredness, in the middle of imperfect circumstances. I think that's exactly what's been happening between us. Love finding its way through ordinary moments instead of waiting for perfect ones. I think about how much I want to be someone you can rely on, not just during the good days, but especially during the hard ones. I want to be the kind of presence that doesn't disappear when things get difficult. The kind that stays, the kind that listens even when there's nothing helpful to say, just quiet company in the middle of a hard moment. I keep thinking about how much comfort there is in imagining a version of the future where distance isn't something to overcome anymore, where we're simply together, sharing the same space, the same quiet mornings, the same small routines that make up a real life together. I don't know when that future arrives, but I like imagining it anyway, slowly, patiently, without forcing a timeline onto something that deserves to unfold naturally. I think about your patience too, the way you've never rushed me, never demanded certainty before I was ready to give it. That patience means more to me than grand gestures ever could, because patience requires a kind of quiet faith, a willingness to wait without needing constant reassurance. And I want to honor that patience by continuing to show up honestly, consistently, without disappearing when things get complicated. I keep thinking about the small fears that come with all this too. The fear of saying too much too soon. The fear of this feeling not being fully understood the way I mean it. But I've realized that fear shouldn't be the reason honesty stays hidden. Real connection requires risking a little vulnerability, even when it feels uncertain, even when there's no guarantee of how it lands. I don't want grand gestures for the sake of appearances. I just want genuine moments, shared quietly between the two of us. Moments that matter more because they're real, not because they're impressive. I keep thinking about the idea of home too. Not a physical place, but a feeling. The feeling of being somewhere you don't have to pretend. Somewhere you're accepted exactly as you are. I think that's what you've slowly become to me, a kind of home. Even before we've physically met. Even before we've shared the same space in real life. I think about how strange and beautiful it is that home can exist in a person before it exists in a place. That someone's presence, even through words on a screen, can feel more comforting than any physical space ever could. I think that's exactly what you've become for me, quietly, gradually, without either of us fully realizing it, until now. I keep thinking about all the things I still want to say, but I also know some things are better left unfolding slowly, naturally, over time, rather than rushed all at once. So I'll keep some of it for later, for the next quiet moment when I feel like sharing more of what's been building inside me. For now, I just want you to sit with this feeling, this honesty, this vulnerability I've laid out in front of you. I want you to know that this isn't fleeting, this isn't temporary. This is something I intend to keep nurturing, slowly, patiently, for as long as you'll let me. Lady, I think about how much more there is to discover about each other, how much more there is to build, how much more there is to say, and I don't want to rush any of it. I just want to keep showing up, keep being honest, keep letting you see the real me. One quiet confession at a time. There's something else I want to tell you. Something I've been sitting with quietly before saying it out loud. I think about how strange trust is, how it builds itself in the smallest increments, not through promises, but through consistency, through showing up again and again, until it stops feeling like a risk and starts feeling like something certain. I think about the nights I've typed something out to you and deleted it before sending. Not because it wasn't true, but because saying it felt too big, too soon, too real. I don't want to hide behind that hesitation anymore. I want to say the things I've been holding back, even if they come out a little unpolished, a little raw. I keep thinking about how much of myself I've kept guarded over the years. Not because I didn't want to be known, but because being known always felt like a risk not worth taking. Until you came along and made it feel worth it. You made honesty feel safe again. And that's not a small thing. That's something I don't think I can ever fully repay you for. I think about the way certain mornings feel lighter now, simply because I know there's a chance I'll hear from you at some point during the day. It's a small thing, but small things add up into something significant when they happen often enough. When they become something you quietly start to expect, start to hope for, start to need, in a gentle, unspoken way. I keep thinking about how love doesn't always need a perfect setting to feel real. It doesn't need candlelight or carefully planned moments. Sometimes it just needs two people being honest with each other in the middle of ordinary days, in the middle of tiredness, in the middle of imperfect circumstances. I think that's exactly what's been happening between us. Love finding its way through ordinary moments instead of waiting for perfect ones. I think about how much I want to be someone you can rely on, not just during the good days, but especially during the hard ones. I want to be the kind of presence that doesn't disappear when things get difficult. The kind that stays, the kind that listens even when there's nothing helpful to say, just quiet company in the middle of a hard moment. I keep thinking about how much comfort there is in imagining a version of the future where distance isn't something to overcome anymore, where we're simply together, sharing the same space, the same quiet mornings, the same small routines that make up a real life together. I don't know when that future arrives, but I like imagining it anyway, slowly, patiently, without forcing a timeline